100% not ready for that. Hello and welcome back to the Way Pony podcast. My name is Grace Clark and you are listening live to this great theatrical digital masterpiece on Riverside Radio. We just had some songs after the past advert, some absolute bangers today, and my mum approves, and that's all I care about in life, my mother's approval. Coming back to our topic of the week, it is customer service. I've got some cracking stories today of horrible customers. It's the only way I can describe it. Having worked in customer service all of my life, my professional life at least, I relate to these on a personal and spiritual level. I am sorry to every single person that has experienced this horrid trend that I feel happens. I just don't know where people's manners have gone. But anyway, without further ado, let's go on to some more stories in part 2. This one says, I worked in retail banking for 5 years. I once had a customer scream across the branch that my chest was distracting him from his banking. My sweater was in no way a dress code violation, and it was mortifying. My 20-year-old co-worker had an older male customer stalk her, and she not only ended up having to file a restraining order, she had to move to a different branch for a period of time. The man proceeded to call every single branch in the area trying to find her. I was also asked out several times by customers, and it was always awkward and uncomfortable. Sliding a note to a bank teller to ask them out is usually not a good idea. No, I agree. That's not a great idea. What is wrong with people? Why are we stalking people? I just don't understand. Next one says, once I worked at Kmart. There was only one register open because 2 cashiers had quit on the spot. Ooh! There was a long line, and this one woman decided to create a second line that just merged into the already existing one, making the people who have already been in the line wait even longer. I was like, ma'am, you can't do that. And instead of moving, more customers lined up behind her. She gave me this smug look like she won. When I called a manager about what to do, they told me not to waste their time and to just check everyone out. So not only did this woman and all the people behind her successfully cut the line, but I got chewed out by the rest of the customers who had been waiting, saying I should have told her to go to the back of the line. You can't win in retail. No, you cannot. That's the big thing to take out of today's episode. You cannot win in retail, and you should all be much nicer to anyone that is serving you anything at all. Just all customer service people, we should all be much kinder to them. And that's all I've got to say on my soapbox today. At the store I work in, we have one regular customer who will literally cry for discounts. No matter what sales are going on, it's never enough, and she tries to guilt trip us into giving her illegal discounts. She would alternate between the same 2 stories. My husband will be so upset, and I'm getting divorced and don't have any money. Well, what is it? Is your husband upset, or are you getting a divorce? Make the story make sense. Make it make sense. Okay. Maybe read the tags before you have me ring up $300 worth of lingerie, this person said. Last time I saw her, my store manager was finally there, and she launched into her whole spiel with them. My manager shut that down quick, telling her sorry. I don't know what I'm choking on, but I'm choking. I can only apologise. I'm fine. Thank you for asking. Sorry. They said my manager shut her down quickly, telling her it was policy and that there was nothing she could do. Thank goodness I warned her about this woman multiple times, so she was prepared when she walked in. Haven't seen that woman since, and thank God. Well, some people are... I don't even know why I'm bothering to comment, to be fair. What am I choking on in my throat? I'm fine. The next story says, I worked in a garden centre for 28 years and I had to deal with irate people pretty frequently. Many of them would buy azaleas while in bloom and then return them for a week or 2 later because the flowers died. I had to explain to them that azaleas only flower for about 2 weeks once a year. I think it's very silly that you would assume that flowers are going to last and then try to get a refund. That's very silly. That's very silly indeed. Okay, next one says, I once had an older lady spit at me. Oh my goodness. Because we wouldn't allow half of her 10-person party to bring in outside food for Mother's Day brunch. As in, this woman wanted 5 people to bring in food from another place and eat in our restaurant, which is clearly ridiculous. Yes, you're right, that is ridiculous. They all had to eat outside as we kicked them out. I'm glad that you kicked them out. I don't know why people just sort of willingly do this. I'm one of those people that will really, if I want to sit down anywhere, I'll get really wound up like, oh no, we have to get a drink. We have to get something, at least something. It'll be rude if we don't get something, even if you don't have to. But yeah, I overthink it and I over worry. And these people are just bringing in 5 different people's worth of food. I don't even know. The next one says, my favourite story is from when I worked at Staples. Ooh, some stationery drama. Someone put the wrong item on hold for a customer and she was annoyed. Even though it took about 3 minutes to realise the error and grab the correct one, I asked if there was anything else she needed and she said, no, I wish you guys sold guns though, because I'm really angry right now.
Right, okay.
That's a bit of that's quite an extreme response. Okay. When I was a teenager, I worked at Blockbuster Video. We would get really long lines the night before a long weekend or a holiday, and it would wrap around the store several times. We rang people up as fast as we could, but it was still a long wait. By the time everyone got up to the register to pay, many were in foul moods. This one lady got up to pay at my register and just wanted...
What did she want? And just wanted...
The computer has decided to not show me the rest of the story. Right. It's working. This one lady got up to pay at my register and just went off on me about her wait before I could ring up her videos or say anything. She then took her videos and threw them at me, hitting my stomach, and ran out of the store. I was in shock, but 2 of my co-workers ran out after her to try and get her license plate number. Well, I'm glad that your colleagues were on your side and looking after you. That is outrageous. She waited all that time just to throw a video at you. People are just very... One thing I'm learning throughout this podcast with these stories is that people are very quick to violence. And that's all I've got to say on that, really. The next story says, I once had a customer throw coffee on me because Kmart layaway had a $5 fee. What's a layaway? This has come up twice now. Layaway. Layaway. Meaning, there we go, it's the first thing that comes up. A system of paying a deposit to secure an article for a later purchase. Right, okay. So it's like click and collect. That's what we would call in the UK click and collect. Okay. I told her I was going to press charges and my manager grabbed my arm, dragged me back and proceeded to yell at me whilst I was awkwardly grabbing tissues to clean myself off. He yelled at me for threatening the customer and said if I pressed charges, I would be fired. This was years ago when I needed the job. Luckily, the coffee didn't blister or burn me too badly, so I went back to work. At the end of the day, that same manager called me to the office and proceeded to write me up. Why? Because my Kmart shirt was stained with coffee and it was against policy to wear a dirty uniform when working. Now there are only 3 Kmarts left in the country. I won't say the last bit 'cause it's rude. That is outrageous. That's your manager. Obviously the customer threw a coffee at you, which is honestly awful. And then your manager, I'm honestly quite in shock about that one. Okay, so to summarise for today's episode, we all need to be much, much kinder to people that are serving us in any type of way. In the customer service industry, people work so hard and we need to be much, much kinder because someone's got to do the job. I'm honestly blown away by some of these stories. And on that note... thank you very, very much for joining me today on the Woe Pony podcast at Riverside Radio Studios. And I can't wait to be back next week. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. If you have any suggestions, please do let me know at Woe Pony Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, whatever you can find works on your phone, social media wise. And thanks for listening. Really, truly grateful. Have a wonderful evening and live your best lives. Night, Mum.